Welcome to the Better Agent Podcast. If you're a real estate agent that's looking to grow your business, then you're in the right place. Whether you want to go from 5 to 10 transactions a year, or 10 to 50 transactions per year, or more, well then this show is for you. I'm Josh Lavik, your host for the Better Agent Podcast, and in each episode, we'll bring you the tools, tips, and tricks directly from myself and some of the best leaders within the real estate industry. We have one goal in mind, and that's to boost your production and elevate your real estate game. Let's dive in and start creating a better real estate experience together. Welcome back to the Better Agent Podcast. Our goal of this show is to help agents that want to grow their real estate business. And so whether they're at 10 transactions, wanting to go to 20 or 20 to 30 or 40 or 50 or beyond, our goal is to help bring some value from both myself and my 20 years experience in the real estate industry, but also our guests. And today we have a wonderful guest with us. Jarred Talmadge is based in Denver and has a lot of great insight to share, I'm sure. We were exchanging a few notes before starting today, and he's got a lot of insight about LinkedIn. So you're definitely going to want to tune in and listen if you're looking to improve your kind of LinkedIn profile and maybe ways to make more connections through that business. But I won't steal any more of your thunder. But Jarred, why don't you give a little intro about yourself and, what you might be able to bring to our guests today?
Okay. So I'm Jarred Talmadge. I am the author of The LinkedIn Real Estate Agent. So I've been doing LinkedIn since 2005, 2006. I was in the lending business for 30 years. I've also been a real estate agent. I've owned my own companies, and I've been a marketing consultant. And so the book actually came about last year. I was having breakfast with one of my agents that I talk to a lot. And he said to me, he goes, Jarred, I'm thinking about doing Facebook ads. What do you know? And I said, well, I know that if you want business, that's not the way to go. You probably should look at LinkedIn. And he said to me, well, what do you know about LinkedIn? And I said, well, I've been teaching it for almost 20 years. Let me show you.
Here we go.
And the result was this book. I teach live classes in Denver here. I'm getting ready to branch out into video and whatnot. But the big thing was, the agent had asked me a very specific question. He said, can I make money and can I do business with LinkedIn? And I said, well, it's a lot. You could do a lot more than what you could do with Facebook or Instagram if that's truly what you're looking for. And that's how that conversation started. That's how I got back into doing consulting for LinkedIn. So
when I think of LinkedIn, though, I'm not, maybe this is a learning opportunity for myself, but like when I think of LinkedIn, to me, it's almost like just a resume, right? It's kind of there and I put in where I've worked and what I've done. And like, that's my resume, right? I just kind of put stuff there and maybe I always hire me, they reach out. Is that kind of how that works?
I'll tell you, I love that question because that is how LinkedIn started. It is not how LinkedIn is now. Here's the thing. Okay, and this is the best way, and I teach this when I teach this in class, is kind of how I explain it. LinkedIn is probably the world's biggest, most comprehensive database of business people in the world has ever seen. We are talking 100 million users in the United States, another couple hundred million users outside of the United States. And so the thing that a lot of people go, oh, well, LinkedIn, it's just, they do what you did. It's just a resume site. It's just this, it's just that. But here's the thing. When you start to really get down to it, LinkedIn is your digital, it's your digital life, more or less. It's your reputation online. And the thing that most people don't know, and especially agents are not, they're catching up to this, but they're not there yet. LinkedIn made an agreement with Google. And so when you have a LinkedIn profile, if you Google yourself, chances are your LinkedIn profile is going to come up in the top 3. That's just because Microsoft, who owns LinkedIn, and Google made an agreement. They said, here's really good content. And so as an agent, if you're looking at it saying, well, it's just my resume, no, you're missing the entire opportunity that it is literally that thing that people are going to search out first and read to make a determination about what you're doing. Let's face it. We're in an age now where if somebody wants to buy a toothbrush on Amazon, they're going to read the reviews. Well, you guys are talking about selling hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in real estate.
Oh, yeah, reviews are important. No question, right?
People want to know. But here's your opportunity to actually control the narrative.
Yeah.
You actually have the ability to say, no, this is who I am. And this is why I do what I do. And this is why I'm different. And this is why I can help you. And when you kind of frame it into that thought process, it changes the whole perspective of what LinkedIn can actually do for you.
So that's an interesting point. So, what's coming up for me is that, I didn't know that you were going to be on my schedule for today until shortly before, maybe yesterday. I think I first found out, or the day before, I was looking at my calendar for the week. Wait, what do we got coming up? And Jarred's on my schedule. Oh, LinkedIn. And I just happened to post on my own LinkedIn profile. I don't do it. Like I said, I don't think I've mastered LinkedIn, so I should take some notes, maybe read your book, something like that. But I know for a fact, I was like, okay, well, I got to be on LinkedIn every once in a while. So I put a post for our podcast. And so just thinking that, okay, maybe if there's agents out there that want to connect, that want to grow their real estate business and want to, might be a good listener for our audience, then, hey, check it out. Here's a link, and here's a link on my LinkedIn profile. So, maybe it's doing exactly that, trying to cast a broader net to some of those people that might be interested. So,
yeah, it's the thing about LinkedIn, and this is true for real estate as much as it's true for any sales job, is when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, how many people do you talk to in a day? Most people can say, well, I talked to, if we're going to talk, we can count everybody. Well, I went to coffee and I talked to somebody and I did this and I talked to somebody and did that. Most likely it's one hand, right? You can count on your one hand, maybe two, how many people you talk to in a day. Yeah, exactly.
On here, yeah.
Right. So you will add a few hands here.
Yeah.
But what you're really talking about when it comes down to LinkedIn, and I tell people this is what I teach. On average, I talk to over 200 people a day on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And when you start doing that, you start looking at the math. I believe in the book I talked about it, and the number was like 50,000 or something for the year. When the book was written, well, it's already up to 75 or 80,000. You start realizing that I've talked to 80,000 people in the last 12 months, and I've spent nothing on it.
Yeah,
and
assuming they clicked on your profile or saw your post or saw
this is actually people that have engaged with my page.
Okay.
So it's what's called page impressions, but what it is, somebody's either seen my content, they've searched me out, they've sent me an email, they've read my articles, one of these multiple things. But when you're looking at it, you're going, wow, that's 80,000 people over the potential of a year. And I really didn't start pushing it all that much until like maybe April or May of last year.
Okay.
I didn't spend a dime on it. And you realize that now when you start talking about it, and I come from, like I said, I come from that background of what can it do for an agent? Well, imagine if you have 500, 600, 800 people subscribing to a newsletter that you're putting out every week. Well, that's 500 to 800 contacts a week that you're putting out on LinkedIn that's simply building that energy. And what I found is that after you start building that energy, it starts building on itself. And that's because LinkedIn does a lot of things behind the scenes they don't tell you about, and they're really bad at telling you that they're doing it. But all of a sudden you notice it's like, wow, I got more subscribers and I got more connections and I'm meeting more people, and all of a sudden I want to do more business. And you're like, well, is this one related to the other? Yeah, it is. Because the thing is, it doesn't take much to stand out on LinkedIn, because right now most agents are of that same opinion that, oh, well, it's just a resume site.
Sure.
No, it's very much more than that.
All right, well, let's go a little deeper then. Okay, Jarred. So if what you're saying is true, and I believe you that, okay, maybe LinkedIn is an opportunity, and I'm looking to say, okay, I want to increase my posts or engagement or things like that. I mean, do I just post whatever and just try to be consistent on it, like once a day, once a week, once a month? What really moves the needle, right? That's what I'm curious about, because at the end of the day, we're talking about results, right? Like if what you're saying is I'm going to get results and I'm going to get closings and I'm going to get clients from this, like what are those things that are really the needle movers in your opinion, that if I got to update my LinkedIn profile or campaign or strategy, and whether it costs money or doesn't cost money, what does that look like?
So I would say this. So the thing is, you need to start, when I consult with people, I tell them, you need to start with the idea that if you look at your LinkedIn page as a whole, chances are it is not inviting to the client. Do you have a banner? Does your banner invite them in? Do you have an about section? Do you explain what you do in the experience section more than just, oh, I'm a realtor at company? But these are the kind of the common things that I see with people. And so what I do is I tell people, I'm like, look, think of it this way, okay? If you're not getting, and I love starting here, because to say, if you're not getting anything from LinkedIn, the only place you could do is go up, right? Totally. So let's start with this, okay? when I talk to a client, I say, all right, you're not on LinkedIn yet. The first thing is, can you commit to 15 minutes a week to do this? Most of them can say, well, yes, I can do that. Good. This doesn't have to be, social media doesn't have to be 5 days a week, 24 hours a day, that kind of thing. LinkedIn, start with LinkedIn.
I feel like it can be, though. I mean,
can be if you want to
right?
get
I mean, you get sucked into
that.
the infinite scroll and going through,
Right.
the Facebooks, the Instagram. It's like, geez, I can be on LinkedIn even forever. I mean, I can only handle so much.
Well, but think about it this way. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, the whole point of their platforms is to keep you engaged and keep you doing the doom scroll, right? That's literally the entire purpose of their business model is to do that. So LinkedIn, however, is very different in that LinkedIn's job is to connect you to other people. And so a lot of people say, oh, well, LinkedIn, I know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to throw out connections and maybe I'll post once a week and maybe something will happen. And that's really, I literally just did an article about this, and that's really hope marketing. I hope this works because I'm going to call it marketing. But the truth behind LinkedIn is if you can literally take 15 minutes a week and go in and like other people's stuff, if you could go comment on other people's stuff, if you could post something, and when I say post something, I literally mean post anything. Post a comment, post a picture, post something, because that's where you have to start. It will grow in a habit as you build. But the thing is, 90% of people who post on LinkedIn never get any level of engagement. So if you think about it, you say, oh, I have a past client and I've connected with them and they post something about they just got a new job. You might want to go in and click on that and say, yeah, I like that. And then put in a comment, hey, I saw your change, you changed jobs. Congratulations. Well, that's not a direct sale, obviously. But you don't know if that client's going to now just got $100,000 a year raise and now he wants to buy a new house. But you're now starting the interaction process of saying, hey, let me stay top of mind with you. And in doing that, you can actually build that relationship so that it's not necessarily there for you to say, oh, when you're ready, call me to sell a house. No, it's just, I'm just going to be cool. I'm just going to give this to you. I'm just going to say, hey, thanks for doing this. I'm going to follow you. But what you're really doing is you're signaling to that person, I'm paying attention to you. And in this day and age, we don't pay attention to anybody right now, right?
I got lots of distractions all over the place. I mean,
right. And so what happens is LinkedIn is really, think of LinkedIn as it's Facebook for business, more or less.
Sure.
But if you keep in touch with people, and even if you don't go anywhere beyond just keeping in touch with people, you're going to start noticing that there's more interaction there. There's more business there. There's more opportunities for you to talk. Now, if you add another layer to it, you say, all right, I'm going to start posting 3 times a week. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write something about business. And in that business section, I'm going to include a thing at the bottom that says, if you have any questions, please call me. Again, you have to start somewhere. But if you keep doing this, what you find is the more times you post, the more times you put out information, the more times you do a specific way of saying, here I am, world, the more people start paying attention. And I'll use my own kind of experience as a case in point. When I started teaching LinkedIn classes, I would put it out on LinkedIn and I'd say, I'm teaching a class, and no one would show up. And that was normal, And I'd say, oh, okay, well, and of course I'd want to get disparaged. My wife would be like, oh, no, just, how this works. You've done this before. And I said, yes, I've done this before. Well, here we are 9 months later, and I have a class I'm teaching tomorrow, and I have 46 people coming. And wow. I'm just like, and that's from going from 0 9 months ago. It's the exact same class. But I had no people doing it last time. Well, now what's the difference? Well, now the difference is I've added a few thousand extra people. I've added 3 newsletters that I publish weekly. I have 800 and some subscribers. And then I also use LinkedIn to push it out to all of the people that I already know and said, hey, by the way, guys, I'm doing this. And so now all of a sudden, imagine having a room full of 46 of your past clients in one room at one time. I don't have to sell them anything. I don't have to tell them anything about me or what I do or how I do it because they're already sold. So now the question becomes, what do you do? What would you do with a room that big of your past clients? Could you teach them something? Could you offer some kind of value? And when you explain it that way, now all of a sudden real estate agents go, well, wait a minute. How'd you get 46 people in a room at the same time on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning? Well,
0 to 46 in 9 months. Something's working. Yeah.
And the longer you do it, the more you're committed to it, the bigger it gets. And
so how long did it take before you started to see, so you started at 0. Was it like first couple weeks, a month? I mean, to get to say 10, what did it take?
To get to 10, I think it took like 2 months, maybe.
Okay.
But again,
so I can start with 0, and my LinkedIn sucks today. And in 2 months, I could get some decent engagement within 2 months.
Some decent engagement. Yeah. And think of it this way. It's a long tail process. And what I mean by that is it builds on itself. It's like anything else. It's like building a blog or building a podcast. You start and you go, wow, there's nobody paying attention. But as you keep building that up, you notice that your audience keeps getting bigger. But what happens then is the audience then goes back and looks at all your old stuff that you've done. They start engaging with all the old stuff you've done. And then all of a sudden, all the old stuff that you've done starts bringing forward even more sales. And you're just like, wow, this is really cool. So, I mean, I'm not so much of an egotist that I'm like, 46 people, that's not very bad. No, that's a lot of people to get to show up on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so I look at it and go, it's all about the build. It's all about saying, I'm here. Because the truth is, as an agent, do you know how long it takes for somebody to forget who you are and what you do? About 2 weeks.
Not long. Yeah, people forget.
About 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So even if you're just posting every few weeks, which I don't recommend. I usually recommend try it weekly, then go to daily. But think of it this way. How many deals have you lost over your career because you didn't keep in touch with somebody?
Oh, yeah.
They're all on LinkedIn.
Well, it's one of the, it's funny you mentioned that, right? So one of the first things we do when agents join our team and join our company is we want them to start engaging with the people they already know, right? Because much of my business, I've been doing this 20 years, and a lot of my business is from past clients and people I know and my sphere of influence and that kind of thing. And, but it also comes from reminding them, hey, I'm in real estate, and, they want to help me and they want to help other agents when they join our team, but like they'll only do that if they know and remember that, they're in real estate. And so being a secret agent is not the way to be successful. It's not the way to grow your business, right? I'm just going to hang out here. I got my resume on LinkedIn, so I'm not going to do anything else, or I'm not going to do a newsletter because I don't want to bother people. But you got to remind people, hey, they want to help you if they can remember, right? And people do get busy. People get busy, right? They get distracted. They got kids, or they got, family members or things happening. And so they need to be reminded. And so, especially in our attention, so many attention seeking devices and things, people totally get distracted. I'm the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so think of it this way. You kind of gave away part of how long you've been doing this, because I recognize one of the statements that you made, which was an old Brian Buffiniism of don't be a secret agent.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that too. I took that course probably 30 years ago. But here's the thing. Okay, so let's take that premise for a second. Okay. There's enough places in the world where you hide your email address and you hide your phone number and you hide all this stuff because you're afraid that somebody might call you, which I always thought as a salesman made no sense. Because I'm like, you know what? I would rather deal with the spam calls than have somebody come looking for me and say they can't find me. And so with LinkedIn, one of the things that I tell people is when you do an article, and this is very specific to a newsletter also, one of the things that you need to do and you need to understand about LinkedIn is all about the sale. Okay. They want you to sell. Let's be real clear. They want you to sell. So one of the most basic things I can tell you as an agent to start with is if you're going to do, let's just say you're going to do an article. We're not even going to get into the newsletters yet. Let's just say you want to write an article. So literally you go to LinkedIn, you click on write an article, it pops it up and you've got this blank screen staring at you. You're like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? Right? Well, start with write what you know. Okay. And I give people a really simple answer to this. LinkedIn, this is not the Library of Congress. This is not massive publishing, although LinkedIn is the largest publisher of business news in the world now. It doesn't mean you have to be a professional writer to do it. Mm-hmm. So start with something that you know about. 3 parts. An introduction. Tell me what you're going to write about. Secondly, write the body, whatever it is your point is. Stick to one point. Okay. Stick to one point. I want to make this point. I am your agent for life, and here's why, right? List the points, list the reasons, blah, blah, blah. And then the closing is literally, this is what I just said. So it's, this is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm saying. This is what I just said. That's it. That's the article. Now, here's the catch, okay?
Sounds like writing an essay in high school. I think I feel like I've learned.
That's exactly it. Yeah. Like, I've been a professional writer for 30 years. Trust me, it is not that complicated.
No. Yeah.
But here's the secret, right? This is like, okay, everybody gets ready. Here's the secret. The professional writer is going to tell you. The secret is in the thing that's below the article. You put in a line and then put in about the author. Okay. And now what you should do is tell everybody about who you are and why you're the expert at what you just talked about. So, for example, I'm Josh. I'm a real estate agent. I've been doing this for 20 years. Here's my name. Here's my phone number. Here's why I make this different. And here's why you should call me. That little paragraph that most people like cringe at. They go, oh, I don't want to sell myself. You're a salesperson. Get over it. Okay.
Like the sales, that's true.
That little paragraph has brought me more business in the last 20 years than anything else. It got me TV interviews. It's got me podcasts, radio interviews, conversations. I just picked up I picked up contracts from that all the time. Because here's the truth of it.
So let's reiterate. So you got your conclusion, say whatever you're going to say, and then you add an about line or section about you and
about the author.
Your sell, your call to action, right? Like if you want to engage with me and learn more about my LinkedIn classes type of thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And so you put that out there, and all of a sudden you don't know where that's going to go. I mean, this is my point. I've talked to reporters in South Africa who work for newspaper or work for magazines in Britain that are reporting on the American real estate market, and they call me because they read one of my articles. They saw the about the author posted in it. I said, here's my phone number. Here's my email address. If you want, reach out and call me. Now, take that and put it to your entire database and realize that most of your database or your clients or past clients are probably already on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Which means you don't have to go buy some fancy program. You don't have to go digging for addresses. It's all right there.
Yeah. Just click the connect button, right? Go connect with people.
Exactly.
And there they are.
So the connection is where it begins. But if you think about it, LinkedIn is kind of like a long marriage. Okay. You would never connect to somebody on a first date and say, oh, by the way, will you marry me? They freak out. But if you think about it as a nurturing relationship of saying, hey, I'm going to keep in touch with people, all of a sudden it changes the game. And so the point of the book was to basically teach realtors in a step-by-step fashion, how do you do this to make yourself money and get your phone ringing? Because at the end of the day, that's what we all want, is the phone to ring.
Sure.
And I've spent 20 plus years trying to figure out how to get people to call me because I hate cold calling. This is what I do.
This is what you do. And your phone rings.
And my phone rings.
There you go. Go figure. Okay. So, well, yeah. I mean, I think you've given us a good teaser and a good plug for getting our LinkedIn profiles up to date. Tell me, I'm a little curious about that newsletter piece. So you said you started also building out your newsletter. Is that just like you're sending that out via email or direct mail, or that's all within LinkedIn, or you MailChimp or some other program? I don't know. This
is like one of the coolest things about LinkedIn. Okay. So it used to be that you had to have like MailChimp or some software package. Then you had to have a separate list and you had to have an email program. LinkedIn did away with all this stuff and said, we're going to introduce the LinkedIn newsletter. Okay. And I will tell you, this is the coolest thing ever. So how you find it is you go when you log into LinkedIn, it pops up and it says, of course, the top, it says write an article. If you click on that write an article button, it'll pop up what looks like just a blank article. But if you notice in the top right corner, it says manage. Well, if you click that manage button, it drop down over and in that drop down, there's a little button that says newsletters. So if you click on newsletters, it pops it up and it says, this is the LinkedIn newsletter. What would you like to talk about? And it has a bunch of questions. What do you want to call your newsletter? How often do you want to publish it? What's it about? Give me a graphic, this kind of stuff. Okay, great. So you do that. And all of a sudden, it pops up this thing that looks exactly like the article place that you were just at. The only difference is a newsletter has a lot more capability. So in order to activate this, you have to have 150 connections on LinkedIn. So as long as you have 150 connections, you can activate this. What you do then is you can just write it the same way you'd write a regular article. But the thing is, you just make it recurring so that you will say, I want to do it weekly, or I want to do it daily or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it is, doesn't matter.
Sure.
What happens is, so you write the stuff, you write the piece, write about the author. And then when you go down to hit publish, there's a little clock or it says publish now. Well, if you hit the publish now, obviously it'll publish right now. If you hit the clock, it'll allow you to schedule up to 60 days in advance, which means that you could literally start writing and have say, you know what, I don't want to launch this for a month because I want to have a bunch of these done. You can literally write them, save them, have them scheduled, and they'll go out automatically. Now, unlike Facebook, LinkedIn doesn't make a distinction between I posted it later and I posted it now. So as soon as the newsletter goes out the first time, you know how you see your thing, it says connections, and then another one says followers, and nobody seems to know what followers are. This is where followers become important.
Okay.
When you click publish the first time, LinkedIn will send that newsletter out to every single one of your connections, and it'll say, Josh just wrote this newsletter. You should pay attention and subscribe. But it'll also send that out to your followers. So if you have 5,000 connections, but you have another 1,000 followers, now you're picking up another potentially 1,000 people. Well, this is what's going to happen is this is going to spike your readership immediately. You can all of a sudden see your readership went up 10,000% because you had a whole bunch of different people.
Yeah.
But this is the cool part that, again, LinkedIn doesn't tell you about. Once you do that, LinkedIn's algorithm will start paying attention to who's subscribing to you. Huh. And then what it'll do is it'll start going out looking for other people that match that profile, and it'll start inviting those people to your newsletter as well. And so all of a sudden, you'll start noticing that every time you publish a newsletter, you start getting more and more subscribers. Well, why is that? It's because LinkedIn's doing the hard lifting for you.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about, I have 3 different newsletters and I have about 800 subscribers across 3 newsletters.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything to get those subscribers other than post my article. Huh. And the funny thing is, the first one kind of like, it sat there. It was like, okay, I've got some of my clients doing it. And then the second one was the LinkedIn newsletter. And I've got a lot of people because of the podcast coming on board. The third one I launched was I also, like I said, I spent 30 years in the mortgage business. So I started writing about mortgage lending and financial planning and that kind of thing. And all of a sudden that thing, boom, that took off. That was the third one I did. It was like that one took off even faster than the other ones. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, well, once again, it proves do it once, figure out what's wrong with it, do it a second time. Yeah, we're starting to get some information. But the third one, whoosh, all of a sudden, it's like I have a loyal following and I have people calling me and I have people engaging with me. And they'll say, oh, I'll get comments. Hey, we read your article. We really like this. We want to do this with you. We want to work with you on that. And so if you think about that from a real estate perspective, what would happen if you started talking about, let's say, because I know you're in Madison, I think.
Yeah.
So what if you started a newsletter about all things Madison? Don't think of it as trying to sell them anything. Because, you're about the author at the bottom will sell them on, hey, I do real estate. But if you start with the premise of, I'm going to do a newsletter, I'm going to do everything about this. Mm-hmm. And every week I'm going to talk about something different. You live there, you could talk about something for 52 times a year.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden you become the expert that they're looking for. And they might be looking for something to do on a weekend, or they might be looking for something else. But now you have a way of being top of mind that doesn't look like you're salesy. It's building credibility. It's building a relationship. And if you think about it, who are they going to call when they finally decide they want to sell or buy a house?
Yeah.
They're going to call you.
You bet.
Because you're the one they're talking to every week, and you're talking to them at a time when they're not looking to sell anything yet. They're not looking to buy anything yet. And you're sitting here going, hey, man, I'm going to offer value. Well, that's what the newsletters are about. And you don't need MailChimp. You don't need a mailing system. You don't need to worry about spam because it can't.
They've already opted in through
They've
LinkedIn.
opted in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and LinkedIn just suggests things, and if they interact with it, then they'll engage. So, exactly. Yeah, that's a clever way to do that. I like that. So, holy cow. All right. Well, we've been talking a lot here about, almost a half hour or so. I don't know, any last words or nuggets that you want to share with our listeners, or if they were wanting to engage with you or anything like that? Yeah, I'm gonna make you guys an offer that it's so good you can't refuse. Hey. Right? I am giving away a free chapter. I'm giving the free first chapter of this book. Okay. So they can actually see what I'm like and see that I actually write very much the way I talk. And this book really is my classes that I teach. It's actually just the classes I teach in written form. Yeah. So if I can, I'm going to offer basically my website is classeswithjarred.com. So it's classeswithjarred, JARED.com.
And on that, there's a little button there's a little picture that says, get your free chapter of the LinkedIn Real Estate Agent. You just click on that and it'll take you to a landing page, just enter your information and boom, it'll send you out the free chapter. And then that way, if they want to engage with me further, please check out that site. It's got consulting. It's got some other information. It's got a link to my newsletters. So if nothing else, check out the newsletters and subscribe to my newsletters on LinkedIn. And
there you go.
You'll learn some stuff.
Probably learn some stuff checking out the newsletter. I mean, certainly you've been able to grow your followers and your leads and opportunities through that. And, that's certainly one good way to get an idea of what you're doing and what's working. So yep. I love that idea. I love the value that you brought here. And, I'll definitely be looking at updating some of my LinkedIn profile. I've sort of done some posting on there, but not consistent about it. So, but, if I can do 15 minutes a week, that's not enough. I can manage that. I don't necessarily want to be overly consumed, right, in some of the social media and Facebook world, right, and wanting to, try to set good boundaries and that kind of thing. But, ultimately, if it can help me grow my business, I'm all about that. And I appreciate you coming on the show. And I'm definitely going to check out that first chapter of your book. It sounds like it'd be, a lot of good value there, and look forward to growing that. So
sounds great. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And this was fun.
Yeah, no, this was great. So thank you very much for everyone who tuned in and listened to our Better Agent podcast today. And if you're interested in hearing more of this, feel free to click the like button on whatever platform you're listening. And if we can hopefully bring you more value on future episodes as well. So again, I'm your host, Josh Lavik, and here with Jarred Talmadge. So on the Better Agent podcast. Thanks for tuning in to the Better Agent Podcast. I hope you found today's insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you enjoyed the show. Stay tuned for more tips, Q&A sessions, and sneak peeks into our 21-day challenge. To get full access of our show notes and more details on the 21-day challenge, go to abetterrealestateexperience.com. Keep striving for greatness, and I'll see you on the next episode.